and birds and so on, fish from God's creation. But I've put, what do you marvel at in God's creation? What speaks to you the most? And maybe just where you're sitting, don't leave anybody out, maybe just a couple of minutes, just having a chat with the person around you. What speaks to you the most from God's creation? Just do that for a couple of moments. Okay, if you want to just draw your conversation to a close. Okay. Now, save me running around with the mic. If you're going to speak, speak loudly so everybody can hear. Does anyone want to share something that really speaks to them from creation? Okay, go on then, Beryl.
Flowers.
Flowers, okay. Yeah? Jonah?
Vastness.
The
vastness.
How, yeah, the vastness of creation, yeah. Go on.
I'll put my hand up the wall.
Okay, I'm looking at the weather.
Yeah.
Yeah, because, when I'm saying weather is, we are in Western world here, Europe and all that stuff. I'm looking at Africa.
Yeah.
We have the same time, some African countries will have the same time with some Europe countries now. But here, if you look at the weather, there is very hot. And here it's not too hot.
Yeah.
But the same, if you look at it, it's the same atmosphere we are all living.
Yeah.
So it's amazing God for making things happening there and right here.
Yeah.
It's quite different.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I have to be very frank. Let me use this word. Most of us sitting down here, you can't live in Africa because of the weather there. You change over 2-3 weeks because it's so hot.
Yeah.
But people live there, people survive there. Is it not amazing, God?
It is, absolutely, absolutely, yeah, yeah. Anyone else want to share what's amazing to them, what speaks to them most? Go on. Thanks a lot, Arno.
The first thing that came in my mind was mountain ranges and mountain peaks. Having skied in even in the Alps, just snow-capped mountain peaks and the vastness and hugeness of it all.
Yeah. Anyone else? Yeah? Vicky?
When I walk around the woods with the dogs, like I do the loop, it's like, it amazes me to think how long that's been there, like how long the trees have been there and nature's been there. It's just like amazing.
Yeah. Go on.
Timothy's dad said human beings, and we are fearfully wonderfully made, aren't we? And we can love so many people in different ways, and our emotions. It's just incredible. Human beings are. We are God's crown glory, aren't we? But made in His image. So.
Yeah. Anyone else? Maria?
It's the variety of pictures. The imagination of God is like endless.
Yeah.
And some of the pictures we just saw there is weird
Yeah.
and wonderful,
Yeah.
but they all serve a purpose
Yeah.
for their survival.
Yeah.
Like the lure thing on the fish and the spider, and you think, we couldn't imagine to create something like that. And yet
No.
God does it.
And some people think it will just happen by chance.
Yeah, we just went bang, and then all these wonderful things came to be.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyone else want to share? Yeah, go on. Linda.
For me, I'm just pleased that we have seasons in our country and there's beauty in every season, and it always amazes me when the snowdrop pushes through. You see a snowdrop pushing through what's been a winter hard ground, and then the spring comes and it reminds me that God's at work and we might not always see what he's doing.
Yeah.
He's at work.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyone else? Someone? Go on, Sonia.
I'm just amazed at the galaxies, you know. I was telling Vicky on Friday, you know, that became a Christian at 12 because I always had to evangelistic meeting, and I stood out, and it was outside in the Caribbean, and I looked out, and if you're in a hot country, Africa or Caribbean, at night the stars like a black blanket, and then the stars like diamonds. And I'm looking up at the vastness of this, and that's what my bare eye can see. And I think that God created all of that. And yet we are only one galaxy, many, many galaxies. And I don't know if you ever watched a program by Professor Brian Cox, you know, when he, you know, goes through and show you the beyond our galaxy, and it goes on and on and on. I think God created all of that.
Yeah.
But also, it created planet Earth, and planet Earth is special because it's the only planet, as we know, that actually sustains life. It's the only planet that has water on it, and we can't live without it. You know, and on it is human beings, and he cares about us.
Yeah.
And that is an amazing thing.
Yeah. Anyone else?
Just a very little tiny thing. In the lawn outside my place, there are daisies, little tiny daisies, that when the sun comes out, it opens up. That's the sun, that's Jesus, you know, that makes me think of him.
Yeah.
But also, in the garden next door to me, there are some huge daisies, sort of, like, what's that, 4 inches across. And that just makes me think of the incredible over beauty of all God gives us. Yeah, sorry, words not great.
Thank you. Yeah, no, thank you. Anyone else? Okay. Well, I've just put together a few pictures. So Armand's got a race back there now. Just a few pictures. Some of the things you've already mentioned, and some that occurred to me that's special from God's creation. So let's have the first one. So the first one is the Earth. And I suppose this is a view of Earth from space. And it says, I was looking it up, it says more than 95% of Earth's oceans, which you can see there, have not been explored. Okay, so you see lots of things where people go down in submarines and do all sorts of stuff and look at fish and so on, but 95% has not been explored because so vast are the depths of the ocean. Now, does anybody know the highest point on Earth? No. Anyone know? Okay, I looked it up. It's Mount, now I hope nobody here is from Ecuador, it's Mount Chimborazo in Ecuador, so that's the highest point. And that's something to do with the shape of the Earth actually, and that's where the Earth bulges there, and that becomes the highest point. Okay, let's look at the next picture. Okay, we've got a nice palm tree, So I've got a few facts about trees. Let's have a look. Right, does anybody know how many species of known species, because there might be a few out there that haven't been discovered, how many species of trees are there? Anyone know? There are more than hundreds, there are thousands. Anyone want to give a guess? 60. 60,000, and those are the trees that are known. There might be some hidden in some rainforest somewhere, so 60,000 trees. So next one. Right, we've got butterfly. Okay, lovely butterflies. Apparently there are more red admirals around at the minute. So, not that I've seen any, I've only seen cabbage white in my garden, but butterflies. Where do they get their nutrients from? They need the nectar from flowers, but they actually need some minerals as well. Where do they get their minerals from? Flying around? No. From drinking from muddy puddles. So a muddy puddle might be a right nuisance to us, but it's a life source for butterflies. So, you know, God has got it all in hand, hasn't he? Right, next one. Okay. Anyone know what animal this is? Yeah, it's a cheetah. It's the fastest land animal. And it can get up to 112 kilometres per hour, and it can do that in 3 seconds flat, just like, you know, and it's faster, it has faster acceleration than a sports car. So, you know, we've developed sports cars, not me personally, but somebody has, but God has developed an animal that can run like that. Okay, next one. Okay, pets. Yeah, we've got pets. We've got Roxy up there as well. We all appreciate our pets. Thinking about dogs, okay. Dogs have, how many eyelids do dogs have? 3. So they've got, yeah, and they've got one membrane which actually helps to lubricate their eyes. Okay, so I don't know if other animals have got extra membranes, but they certainly have. Right, next one. Right, someone mentioned, Sonia mentioned the night sky. What shape is the moon? It's lemon shaped. Okay, if you imagine what, so it isn't perfectly round, it's lemon shaped. And something else I gleaned as well, the planet Venus spins backwards, okay? So, you know, everything, we've looked at the weird and wonderful creatures that, the fish that might put on the screen, but even things that we know, everything is slightly different to the next thing, because God has created them for a purpose. Next one. Okay, in our group over here with Bob and Hannah, we talked about sunset and sunrise. Beautiful. The sun rises in the east and sets in the... Okay, so which capital city has the longest and shortest days? Anyone know? Right, it's Reykjavik in Iceland.
She said that.
Did she? I believe you. Yeah. And on June the 21st, which is the equinox, it gets 21 hours and 45 minutes of daylight out of 24. So amazing, okay. Right, next one. Oh yeah, sunset and sunrise. Okay, next one. Birds. Okay. So we've got birds. Anyone know how many known species of birds there are? There are thousands. 10,000 known species of birds. And when you think God created birds, but he didn't just create one type. Okay, birds, garden birds, we've got seabirds, we've got all sorts of different birds. They have different lives. They look differently, different sizes. It's amazing. Next one. Beryl mentioned flowers. Anyone know what the largest flower is? No, there's one bigger than that. There's one that's 10 feet high and 3 feet wide. Do you know what it is? It's probably looks, well, we've got a picture of it. Well, there it is. Oh no, don't show the next picture yet. It's called the Titan Arons, commonly known, this is lovely, commonly known as the corpse flower, because it smells like decaying flesh. I think we've got it. There we are, okay. Looks a little bit, I mean, lily pads are massive. If you go to Kew Gardens, there's a house there, you know, a sort of conservatory place with massive lily pads. But this is the biggest. It's 10 feet high and 3 feet wide. Okay. And then there was Janet talking about the tiny daisies in her garden. You know, what a variety there are. Okay, next one. Waterfalls. Crocus and Crocus, there are waterfalls. Okay, the highest is in the rainforest of which country? Anyone know? No? Venezuela. Do you know what it's called? The waterfall's called in Venezuela. It's called Angel Falls, yes. And it plummets 979 metres. Okay. And I think we often think of the one in Canada, but that doesn't fall. It might be wide, but it doesn't have as much fall to it. The water doesn't fall so high, so low rather. Next one. And finally, because this seems to be a theme in our church, we've got a newborn baby. Now, this is interesting, I never knew this. Adults have how many bones? Anyone know how many bones an adult has?
206.
Yes, it is 206. I'm glad you're here today. It's 206. Adults have got 206 bones. I've not personally counted them, but they have. Got a load of bones in your feet, actually. But the amazing thing is, babies are born with 300 bones. And the reason they're born with more is that as they grow, some of those bones fuse together. Okay, which is amazing, isn't it? It's amazing. And you think, well, why doesn't God keep a baby in the womb for longer? But of course, some of their growing is inside, and a lot of their growing is outside. So it's amazing. And I think really just showing you these pictures just demonstrates how vast God's creation is, how detailed it is. And of course, we are His masterpieces. So yeah, we're going to have another song, and then we're going to take up the offering during that song. Thank you.
So let's answer that with good old from the rising of the sun to the going down of the same, and you can feel free to do actions with that.